Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt and I do like video games, and just like a lot of you, I am biding time until we get to Starfield. As I'm recording this, we are just a little less than 2 months away from Starfield's official release date of September 6th, early access obviously September 1st, and I started thinking to myself, what games can I play to get ready for Starfield? And I thought, well, why not make a video on it? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are waiting for Starfield. So what can you play to get yourself ready for Starfield? Well, we're going to be talking about it in today's video. I've got 3 games, so let's get into it. But before I get into the video, I do want to say I have an announcement. You guys have come to expect content from me Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that is not changing, okay? That's not going to change. What is changing is on Wednesdays, instead of a pre-recorded video like this, it will be a live podcast with my buddy Ham Solo, and it will be the same time as my videos go up. So my videos go up 11 a.m. Eastern. This podcast will be 11 a.m. Eastern every Wednesday. It's called the Two Player Podcast, and it'll be the first podcast I've ever done here on this channel, and it will be starting this Wednesday. I'm excited for it, and I hope you guys will check it out. But with that being said, let's get right back into the video. But the first of the 3 games on the list of games that you should check out while you're waiting for Starfield is the only game that is not made by Bethesda Game Studios, and that is Outer Worlds. Now, Outer Worlds was released in 2019, and it was pretty unanimously received as a spectacular RPG. Now, obviously, it's not a game that's going to be on the scale of Starfield. There's really no game that is on the scale of Starfield, but especially Outer Worlds, it's a much smaller, more condensed RPG experience. And that's why it's perfect for this list. You know, it might be, 15 to 20 hours, maybe 20 to 25 hours, depending on how you play it. And I think the best way to describe the game, and I know a lot of people have probably described it like this, is imagine Fallout New Vegas, but in space with a slightly smaller scope. But in lieu of that size and scale of what you might expect from a first-party studio, what it does have is a very, very tightly condensed story with some really, really well-written characters, some pretty good combat, honestly, and some decent exploration. And this one's kind of a double whammy because it's a nice game to play to get ready for Obsidian's next game, which is going to be Avowed, which we're all kind of assuming comes in 2024. And even more than that, they've already announced Outer Worlds 2, so that kind of leads us to assume that after Avowed, they'll probably start work on that. And if that's the case, then hey, why not play Outer Worlds 1? It's a pretty spectacular game. And up next on this list is a game that I wouldn't expect most people have beaten, but I'm sure most people have at least checked it out, and that is Skyrim. And now I don't feel like I need to explain what this game is too much, It's Bethesda Game Studios. It is one of the biggest games ever made, one of the most successful games ever made. Plus, on top of that, if you've listened to any of the interviews with Todd Howard in regards to Starfield, well, he's always said that Starfield is essentially Skyrim in space. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little bit biased here because Skyrim is my favorite game of all time by a pretty good margin. And that's not to say that other games aren't great. I mean, it's just that Skyrim is here. It's number 1 on my list, and then number 2 on my list is down here. There's a big margin between those two, and it's no disrespect, but it is what it is. But it's also worth noting that Skyrim can be a little weird because the community's somewhat torn on it. Unanimously it was received as one of the best games of all time, but amongst the general Elder Scrolls community, once I got into it, I kind of realized that a lot of people didn't love Skyrim. There's many people that love Morrowind more than Skyrim, or even Oblivion more than Skyrim, and they don't consider Skyrim to be as deep of an RPG as either of those RPGs. But I think that game was a game that I needed to play to be able to get into RPGs, because keep in mind, when I played Skyrim for the first time, I had never played an RPG. The only games I really knew were sports games and FPS games. That was it. And that's what I think makes Skyrim such a good choice for this list, because it is so accessible. Yes, there are some serious RPG elements in there, but if you're somebody who doesn't really care for the RPG elements and you just want to pick up a game, play play your way through it and just explore the world, well, you can do that in Skyrim and still get a pretty full experience. And I think the best thing about Skyrim, or the thing that I love most about it, is the fact that you're not really limited to just one class in a playthrough. I mean, yeah, you pick your race of character when you start the game, and each one has their own specific traits that they're good at and their focus is and everything. But once you start the game, you can become whatever you want to be. You can be an archer, you can be a mage, you can be a warrior, you can be a two-handed brute, you can be whatever you want to be in that game. You're not just tied to the thing that you picked at the beginning of the game. I mean, what better way to get ready for Skyrim in space than to just play Skyrim? And up next, the final game on the list is Fallout 4, another Bethesda Game Studios game. A really, really special game to me. I know it's not everybody's favorite Fallout, but God, it's still a good game. And even more than the other games I've mentioned, I feel like this is going to be a really good game to get ready for Starfield, because it's probably going to give you a pretty good sense of how Starfield is going to feel. And now when I say feel, I don't mean in the sense of, you know, the mechanics and everything or the RPG elements, because in terms of an RPG, Fallout 4 is relatively light. You know, it's probably the weakest RPG Bethesda's ever made, you know, in terms of just the RPG elements. But in terms of specifically the combat, and even then, the combat in Starfield does look better than Fallout 4. But Fallout 4, until Starfield, is the best combat that Bethesda's ever done. And it's pretty damn good. And I feel like it'll give you a pretty good sense of what to expect from Starfield, albeit, you know, much more polished and refined than Starfield. Also, with Fallout 4 being the last game that Todd Howard has produced before Starfield, and all the lessons that the team learned from that game, I feel like it kind of gives perspective on all the things that were changed and improved upon and brought back from older games back into Starfield. And I know a lot of people took issue with the storytelling in that game, but for what it's worth, I thought the story was pretty damn good. But guys, that does bring us to the end of the list, but leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've played any of the games on the list before. I'm sure you have at some point. But leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know if I've convinced you to play any of these games before Starfield. Leave a comment down below. Let me know about all that stuff. Leave a like if you liked the video. And if you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to stay up to date with it going forward over here on the channel, the best way to do that is consider subscribing, consider ringing that notification bell, because it helps you stay up to date with everything that happens over here on the channel. And it helps promote me in the algorithm, helps push the videos out to more people. And I really, really do appreciate that. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.